Every single day, we use a web that just works. It feels so seamless. But behind the curtain, there's this constant, incredible balancing act going on. Today, we're going to pull that curtain back and look at the hidden trade-offs that go into building a web that's better, safer, and more inclusive for all of us. So, think about this. Have you ever found a great YouTube video or maybe a cool map and you wanted to pop it right onto your own website? It feels like it should be the simplest thing in the world, right? And hey, most of the time, it kind of is. The web is built for this sort of sharing. You find a little snippet of code, you paste it in, and boom, there's your video. But that beautiful simplicity, it's a little bit of an illusion. Yeah, because that one little act of pasting code kicks off this massive three-way tug of war. You're trying to make it work, you're trying to keep it secure, and you're trying to make sure everyone can actually use it. Nailing that balance, that's the real, unseen craft of building the modern web.
Okay, Section 1, a window to the web. Before we can get into the messy stuff, we have to understand the basic tool everyone's using, the iframe.
It's called an iframe, short for inline frame. And the best way to think about it is, well, it's literally a window. You're standing on one website, but you're looking through this iframe window into a totally different one. It's a super powerful tool, but just like a real window in your house, it can also be a weak spot. Which brings us to Section 2, when windows break, the security challenge. That window analogy, it's about to get really real. Because an iframe can be a huge security risk if you're not careful. 30%. Get this, according to the security firm Reflectizzy, 30% of all attacks on web applications come from something called cross-site scripting. And you guessed it, unsecured iframes are one of the main ways this happens. That's a huge number. And the ways attackers can use this vulnerability, it's pretty devious stuff. They can hijack your clicks, so you think you're clicking play on a video, but you're actually doing something else entirely. They can inject malicious frames to steal your info, set up fake login pages to fish for your passwords, you name it. At the end of the day, using an iframe without the right security measures is pretty much the digital version of leaving your ground floor window unlocked and wide open. It's basically just asking for trouble. All right, Section 3, an invisible wall, the accessibility challenge. So we've locked all the windows to keep the bad guys out. Great. But what if the house we built has an invisible wall right in the middle of it, making it impossible for millions of people to even get around inside? This is where we get into accessibility. It's this crucial idea of making sure that the digital world we're all building doesn't create these invisible barriers for people with disabilities, whether that's visual, hearing, motor, or cognitive. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. Look at the code on the left. To a screen reader, that's 4 separate, confusing links. It's clunky. Now look at the right. With a tiny change in the code, it becomes one single logical link. To someone who can see the page, they look exactly the same. But for a screen reader user, it is a night and day difference. The web accessibility guide ExcetaWeb explains exactly why this stuff matters so much. They point out that having good structure isn't just some techie detail, it actually gives users control. It lets them navigate a page efficiently, understand how it's laid out, and skip stuff they're not interested in. Just like a sighted person does when they skim a page. So that brings us to Section 4, the Builder's Toolkit. With these huge challenges of security and accessibility, what can a developer actually do about it? Well, luckily, they have a whole toolkit for the job. So to lock down that iframe window, you've got some really powerful tools. The sandbox attribute, that's like putting a bunch of extra locks on the window to stop things like scripts or pop-ups. The allow attribute is more like a keycard. It only grants very specific permissions, like letting a map use your location. And Xframe options, that's like a policy that says who's even allowed to build a window to your content in the first place. And for accessibility, one of the most powerful tools is called semantic HTML. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Instead of just using generic boxes for everything, a developer can use tags that actually describe the content, like header, main, or nav. For a screen reader, this turns a confusing mess into a clear, easy-to-read map of the page. Even choosing a video format is a balancing act. MP4 is like the universal key. It works pretty much everywhere on about 98% of browsers. But then you have WebM, which can give you better quality with a smaller file size. But it doesn't work on every single browser yet. So what do good developers do? A lot of the time they offer both.
Building an accessible site really comes down to a checklist of best practices. Things like adding skip links so someone using a keyboard doesn't have to tab through 50 navigation items on every single page. Making sure you can always see which button or link is selected. Writing good text descriptions for images. And this one is huge, including captions. This is a must-have for the roughly 15% of adults who have some level of hearing difficulty.
Okay, last section, the web we weave. When you put all this together, you start to see that embedding a simple video isn't just about copying some code. It's about consciously crafting an experience.
And this quote just gets to the absolute heart of it. A good media experience is seamless, it's informative, and it's respectful of the user's control. The goal isn't just to make content show up on a screen. It's to create something that actually honors the user, their needs, their abilities, and their security.
So, this is so much more than just fixing bugs or trying to avoid problems. It's really a philosophy. It's the difference between accidentally leaving people out and intentionally including them. It's about choosing to build the web with care and with craft.
Every single day, millions of tiny decisions are made by developers and creators that shape this digital world we all share. The web is never done. It is always, always under construction. So the question that really leaves us with is, what kind of web are we, all of us, going to choose to build next?